Okay, so I pulled out a saucepan. This is about a 6-quarter. I've got some unsalted butter back here, Worcestershire sauce, some unsalted chicken broth, some thyme, some dill, some white cooking wine, some kosher salt, some sour cream back here, some paprika. I got an onion. I got about 1.5 pounds or so of portabella mushrooms, some lemon juice, some flour, and some half and half. Only because I don't have heavy cream. I'm going to chop this stuff up and get it ready for the cook. Okay, so the butter is melting, and I'm going to be adding our chopped onions. I went ahead and cut up all the mushrooms, and I fixed the milk slurry for the thickening, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, there we got our butter melted. I turned it down a little bit while I was prepping all the rest of the vegetables. There's all of the mushrooms I've chopped up. There's the onions back there. This is our milk and flour slurry. I'm getting it all incorporated here with my whisk. In the back, I have my herbs, my paprika, salt, thyme, and my thyme and my other spice. I'll tell you what that is again. I forget. My lemon juice. There's my white wine. Okay, so I got my butter melting. I chopped up my mushrooms and diced my onions. And here I have my milk and flour that will be used for my thickening. Back there I poured out my white wine. Cooking wine is what I'm using. I don't have a regular wine. I don't drink the stuff, but I use that for cooking. And in here I have my dill and dried thyme and paprika and some salt. And I think everything else is about ready here. We're going to start sauteing things here by adding our onions. There they go there. And I need a wooden spoon to stir that a little bit here. I'm going to get that cooking just a hair. And we need to add our mushrooms too. And let them all start to saute. Put that over here for just a moment. And pour our mushrooms in. It's going to be a lot because when you're not feeling good, you feel like cooking a little bit. Actually, this is a double recipe, so that way I won't have to maybe cook tomorrow, and I can hopefully get well tomorrow. So sometimes that happens. You don't feel good and you still got to cook. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to let this start sauteing, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so the mushrooms and onions have been sauteing that butter, and they're looking pretty good. It is now time to add the rest of our stuff, starting with our chicken stock and other fluids. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to put in 1 container of our low salt chicken broth. Just 1. There we go. Takes care of that. There goes our white cooking wine. Our Worcestershire sauce. I know I didn't pronounce that correctly, but there we go. Okay. And our herbs, and our salt. And there it all goes in right there. Okay, I'm going to give this a stir. Let that cook a little bit. Okay. And then we'll be back here in just a few minutes. After that cooks down a little bit, we need to get that to a boil. Let everything start to marry together. And then we'll go to the next step. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. And the soup's been cooking. I have everything else ready to go in. And I want to show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so this is what we've got here. It was brought up to about a boil and then brought down to about a simmer. It's been simmering about 10 minutes. And the broth is looking really thick and juicy. It's got a nice brown color. We're going to start to slowly add the milk and flour mixture to it, just a little bit at a time here so it doesn't curdle. And we're going to pour it in and then stir. It's going to start to change the color and the texture. more in and stir. Oh, that's looking pretty. Well, it's got a beautiful, beautiful golden brown color. We're almost done with our liquid here. Yes, I'm still sniffling, but I'm working my way through this because this looks going to be good with our burgers tonight. We're going to have burgers with pickled red onion and our mushroom soup. Well, that's looking really good. Okay, so I'm going to pour the last little bit of this in here and keep stirring on it for a little bit and allow this to thicken up before we put the last bit of the ingredients in. So there goes the last of our milk. Well, almost the last of our milk. Like I said, I'm going slow because I don't want it to curdle. This is pretty warm. And here goes the last little bit now. I'm going to go ahead and get the last little bit out of the... Oh yeah, that's thickening up really good. I'm going to have to scoop that out with a spatula. But, oh, that's looking really pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to let this stir a little bit more, and then I'll put the lid on it and just let it cook for a little bit until it starts to thicken up really nice and pretty. Then we'll add the last bit of the ingredients. Okay, so the recipe called for lemon juice, and the only thing I had in the fridge was some fresh squeezed that was in a jar, and it still had the pulp. I didn't think that would taste too good in the soup, so let me show you my hack. Okay, so this is what I did. I took a little container here, and I put this over top of it. This is cheesecloth, and one of these days I'll show you how to make cottage cheese. And I just took and poured in my lemon juice here, strained it out, rinsed out my cloth when I'm done, and this is what I got. Look how pretty that is. So that's going to go on the soup in just a moment. But anyhow, there's a kitchen hack. Okay, so it's done. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. So we're going to scoop some of that out, put it in a bowl, and serve it up. Got our burgers cooking. Our red onions, pickled red onions are done, and this will be with it. So, bon appetit.